here's the inherent problem. The game, in my humble opinion, is amazing. They've changed everything. I was calling this early on that this game was going to be great, and it is. But you go into these tournaments, which I'm so glad, like everybody else, they brought them back. We just made it to the semifinal of this early access tournament, and we had 2 tough games, right? Which, in this video, you'll be seeing the highlights of those games right now. However, as you go further into the tournament, they decided we're going to match people not by location, but by where they're at in the tournament, so each game feels more difficult. So my opponent was in the semifinal on his end, now he goes to the final, and I'm in the semis. Now, you never know who you're going to play. It just so happens my semifinal opponent was the lowest of the 3 I faced. I had a very hard-fought second game. Sorry, he was probably better than that first opponent that I beat 4-2, right? But maybe it was close. The second opponent was very good. Ended up getting him 2-1. Very close game. There was definitely some lag there. You could tell he was a tackleback player. Marcus, my last opponent, was going for 0 tacklebacks. Was not playing ratty. He just had that lag advantage. For instance, turning into my defender and getting through. Me going on breakaways where you guys would see me score. Like you see in these highlights. I don't know what's playing. The video's not on right now, but I'll try to put highlights of the goals. And instead, in a lag game, boom, the defender catches up. You get tackled before you get a shot off. So now you got this half-second delay. You're still making interceptions. You're still getting through, but you can't get a shot off. And then all your opponent has to do is make mistakes, meaning receive the ball and run at your defender, and you can't do anything. He just goes through and scores. So you're all but out. Now, a top-level player is going to have you beat 10-0 in his first 10 touches. So you can tell where the skill level is based on that and based on just decision-making. And it's no fault of the players winning, even though it becomes pointless for them too. Just like if I was winning every game by lag, my viewers would very quickly go, dude, he's turning into the defenders every single time. Guys, he is literally getting burned, and he's catching up because, look, his opponent can't shoot the ball in time. They're lagged. Look at this. And I'd have the trolls saying I was lag switching, and then I'd have opponents coming in going, what? You're a rat. You're cheating. And maybe I'm just playing the game based on the service, but I'm not that good. And so, like, the highlights that I'm showing you, I'll put it in right now where my Palmer turned away from the defender and I scored, whereas my opponent turned right into my defender, right into me. Would have been a tackle, but he goes through. That was a game where there was delay and he was going for the tacklebacks. It was just obvious. Usually by the time a player goes for that, your players pass the ball out. So he would lose the ball and immediately try to run into you and get it back. And it's a telltale sign of a rat, telltale sign of a player that tries to take advantage when the game plays bad. Most players don't do that. Like, again, my last opponent didn't do it. He was just a lower skilled player. But the problem is, now you're playing the game in a competitive atmosphere in these tournaments, right? And then in the first round, okay, so if I go in here, for instance, we'll go to the, we're not going to play this right now. We'll go to the, I want to go to the, and it won't let me in right now. Probably until later. But I wanted to go into the brackets because you play the first round and it's going to be against someone closer because they just match you by location. Then you play in the second round. There it is. Sorry. Here's a tournament bracket. Then you play in the second round and it's by location, but it's a little bit less people. And notice there was a little bit more lag. Then you play in the semifinal, and now you only play face players in the semis. There's a lot less, and boom. And then, of course, the finals is going to be terrible. And notice that each one was. And so once you get to the final, you went from perfect connection in the first round to awful connection. And guess what? That's the most important game. The only way this is going to work is if EA Sports patches this up and makes it to where you can face anybody throughout the tournament. Will there be a chance that you face a player you just smoked in the finals? Yes, but guess what? Until EA Sports gets new servers or a new game engine or both, really they need both, and the responsiveness isn't such trash, they can't make these games where either one player automatically wins and one player pretty much automatically loses. You guys know what this is like, right? PlayStation tournaments, just not as bad. Because PlayStation tournaments, you have to like connect to there's some weird thing they do. It's like PlayStation tournaments though, but not as bad. Now when you have high level players, like no matter what, if you won the tournament to get into this, you're at least good. But I don't think anybody would argue when looking at these three games. I just faced my weakest opponent in my most lag game, and now I suffer a loss there, and it's like an insult to my skill level. And it's really an insult to the opponent too, because they didn't do anything. It's a waste of time in a way. Like I said, if let's say every game I was winning that way, it would be sought out pretty quickly. Once you guys watched enough of my games, you would see what lag advantage looks like. You would see, dude, I play this game and nobody catches up to attackers like that unless their opponent's lagging. OG's getting burned, terrible defensive principles, and yet he keeps catching up and getting it. No one gets that. You know, like you guys would see, you guys would notice, like, dude, he's turning into the defender. When he does his skill moves, it's right at the defender. Like, he's doing nothing good. He's just using lag. And then I'd be done for. Even if I was a nice guy, you'd be like, why am I going to watch a guy that's winning from lag? Like, that's what this game is. So it's not like the winners are getting advantage. Now, don't get me wrong. There's rats out there that love it. Oh, yes, this is awesome. And that's why they'll run other programs or switch to their Wi-Fi or a hotspot because they know it will bog the game up. Because how it works is like this. I'm connected to a server, and it's 20 ping. My ping from the server is 20. My opponent's connected. He's 50 ping from his where he's at with the server. When the game connects, there has to be an in-sync fluidity to it because you can't have one player that needs to react to the other. For instance, offensively, he's making a tackle off my movements, or I'm running based on where his player runs, or whatever. And so you can't have this huge delay. So what they have to do is bog the game down, for lack of technical terms. I'm not a tech guy at all, right? This is just the understanding of it in the most layman way. And so they'll bog the game down so that it matches. And so the person with the better internet, better connection actually gets screwed. So whenever you guys notice that sometimes 20 ping games for me or for you guys will feel trash, and then all of a sudden a 40, 50 ping game will feel good. Well, why? Because both you and your opponent are at the same levels. There's no bogging the game down, lagging out. It's just kind of crappy because there's some slowness, some glitchiness, but you're both still playing football. The lag advantage comes when there's one player that significantly gets affected by the change in the game from the connection, while the other one is pretty much staying the same. It doesn't mean they have to have perfect connection. It doesn't mean that they don't have any lag at all going on. It just means that their side of it is staying consistent. The other player's side is getting totally bogged down. That's the benefit of lag switching. That's the benefit of purposely not using LAN, purposely using crappy Wi-Fi, purposely using a crappy hotspot. Because rats know that's where they get a chance. If you're a skilled player and you're going to whoop someone 10-0 anyway, and you go out and the ref goes, you're both blindfolded for this game, who's going to like it? The non-skilled player. Why? Because he was going to get smoked no matter what. Now he has a chance because all the skill gap was taken away when the ref blindfolded everybody. Does that make sense? So you're basically getting a handicap. Instead of running the race with 2 legs, you got to hop on one while your opponent runs with 2. And that's where we're at with FC. So it's going to be fun, but there's going to be these times. Now, am I so upset? No, because I got some good football tonight, and I'm grateful for it. However, does it suck knowing I should be and almost guaranteed would be in the final based on how I was playing, based on the level of that opponent, who came in and apologized, and by the way, he did nothing wrong. I wanted to know the simple thing, because it's important. Does he get that every game where, like, that's his norm? Or does he get that lag some games and whoop everyone with it when it's an advantage, and in other games he's on the receiving end? And based on his record, it's 50-50, which is how it typically goes with that level of player. That's important to note, because that's what I mean by, imagine if he did have that advantage every time, he'd be like 70-0 or 70-2. Let's just say 2 games he met his match with, player was lagged out, but just a beast, right? But because that lag doesn't consist, these players don't go anywhere. For my boy Marcus, who I just played, who I'm talking about, I'm not like happy about that for him, but for the Rats, that should make us happy, because even when they get lag wins against us, it's good to know that they're going nowhere because their skill can't take them anywhere, right? It's BS that they can even win some games, but at least we know they're going to get their medicine sometimes where they can't use the BS to take shortcuts. However, it does suck for skilled players to know that you're not always going to be able to use your skill to and let the best man win. There's going to be these games where lower players win, and that's how it is. We just need to get this out there. Keep speaking about this no matter how good the game is. I love the game. You can give the game its praise, but EA Sports, and I don't think anybody has a problem dogging on EA because they should have gave us this game years ago, but I'm just saying, the game is great. By no means am I saying the game sucks. It just sucks to have the game with these servers. It sucks to have the game with these conditions, right? So we can't just settle for this. We have to keep speaking up, just like we did to get the changes we got in FC26. And we have to keep sharing these things so that eventually EA Sports will have no choice but to do something about it. Even smaller content creators, even if you're not a content creator and you're sharing the comments on your big content creators, channels, sharing video clips, posting, putting it on their social media. Eventually they can't ignore it, because now they're all about not ignoring us. They're all about responding to us quickly, right? Well, this is a perfect thing for EA Sports to respond quickly to. You made an attempt at fixing the unresponsiveness. It did improve the game, but it didn't fix it. And the way you set up tournaments, you inadvertently created a scenario where the lag advantage is going to stick out badly because you only match players based on where they are in the tournament. Typically, that's great. I love that. Typically. But because the distance of the players becomes worse and worse, which makes for that uneven ping, the ping problems, you inadvertently created a shitty situation for your players, and you need to eradicate it, right? Find a way, and if it has to be only connect players based on location, even in the final, so be it. But until then, this tournament's going to be, oh, well, I know we'll get at least 2 good games in, and then the rest is going to be cross your fingers, see if we can get some lag wins. That's BS. That gets old real quick. No matter how good the game is, the competitive side is going to wear away. Players who are winning are going to say, this is pointless. I know that I'm not good, right? And who cares what the Rats think? The Rats will love it, but they're not normal, right? And then the players who are losing are going to be like, what's the point? I'm going to win 2 games, or maybe 3, and then it's going to be a lag fest in the final. You guys let me know what you think about this situation, and if you have any other ideas on how EA Sports could make this situation go away, or at least make it better, since we can't expect them to snap their fingers and get new servers or a new game engine. But what do you guys think? Long-term fixes, short-term fixes? I'm just interested in your feedback. Please like the video if you enjoyed it and subscribe if you haven't already. We will see you soon. Peace.